Sarah Martinez smiled at her phone camera and took another picture. Her daughter Emma stood next to her son Lucas in the backyard. Both children wore bright yellow soccer jerseys. They held a trophy between them. The Arizona sun made everything look perfect and golden. "Say cheese," Sarah said. The kid smiled big. She snapped the photo and looked at it. Perfect. She would post it on social media later. Everyone would see her happy family. Everyone would think everything was fine, but nothing was fine. Sarah walked back into the house. The air conditioning felt cold against her skin. She had been outside for 20 minutes. That was exactly how long David said she could be out there. Not 25 minutes. Not 30. 20 minutes exactly. She looked at the kitchen clock. She had 2 minutes left. Emma and Lucas ran inside behind her. They were laughing and pushing each other in a playful way. Sarah loved hearing them laugh. It made her remember better times. Times when she laughed too. "Mom, can we have ice cream?" Lucas asked. He was 6 years old with dark hair like his father. His eyes were bright and full of hope. "After dinner, sweetie," Sarah said. She touched his head gently. "Go wash your hands. Both of you." The children ran upstairs. Their footsteps were loud on the wooden stairs. Sarah listened to them go. Then she listened for another sound. The sound of David's car in the driveway. He would be home in 30 minutes. Maybe less. Sarah moved quickly through the kitchen. She needed dinner ready by 6 o'clock. Not 6:15. Not 5:50. 6 o'clock exactly. She had learned this rule the hard way. Many rules had been learned the hard way. She pulled chicken from the refrigerator. Rice was already cooking on the stove. She had started it at the right time. She cut vegetables with steady hands. Her hands knew what to do. They had made this same dinner 100 times. On the counter, her phone buzzed. Sarah jumped. She picked it up carefully. It was a text from her sister Monica. "Haven't heard from you in weeks. Are you okay? Call me." Sarah's chest felt tight. She wanted to call Monica so badly. She wanted to tell her everything. But she couldn't. David checked her phone every night. He read every message. He looked at every call. If she called Monica, he would know. If she told Monica the truth, he would know. Sarah typed back quickly. "Everything is fine. Just busy with the kids. Talk soon." She deleted the message thread after sending it. David would still see it in the phone records, but at least the words would be gone. At least he couldn't read them over and over. The front door opened. Sarah's whole body went stiff. She looked at the clock. 5:45. David was home early. "I'm home," David called out. His voice sounded normal. That could be good or bad. Sarah could never tell anymore. "In the kitchen," she answered. She kept cutting vegetables. Her hands moved steady even though her heart was beating fast. David walked into the kitchen. He was tall and wore a nice suit. To anyone else, he looked like a normal husband coming home from work. He looked like a good man. A family man. "Something smells good," he said. He put his briefcase on the counter. Then he walked over and kissed Sarah's cheek. The kiss felt cold. "Chicken and rice," Sarah said. "Your favorite. Dinner ready at 6? He asked. "Yes, 6 o'clock. "Good." David loosened his tie. He looked around the kitchen. His eyes moved over everything. The clean counters. The organized cabinets. The folded dish towels. "Where are the kids?" "Upstairs washing their hands. They had soccer practice pictures today. Did you post them yet?" "Not yet. I was waiting to show you first." This was another rule. David wanted to see every social media post before Sarah shared it. He said it was to protect the family. Sarah knew it was to control what people saw. Everyone needed to think they were perfect. David picked up Sarah's phone from the counter. She hadn't put it away fast enough. He unlocked it. Sarah had to give him her password months ago. He scrolled through her messages. "Your sister texted," he said. His voice changed a little. "It got harder, I know. I told her we were busy. She's always bothering you. Always trying to cause problems." "She's just checking in," Sarah said quietly. She kept her eyes on the vegetables. "You don't need her checking in. You have me. You have the kids. That's your family," Sarah nodded. There was no point in arguing. Arguing made things worse. Much worse. David put the phone down. "I saw you talking to Janet next door this morning." For a long time, Sarah's stomach dropped. She had talked to their neighbor Janet for maybe 10 minutes. They discussed the weather and the kids' school. Nothing important. Nothing private. But 10 minutes was too long for David. It was just a few minutes, Sarah said. She asked about Emma's science project. It looked like more than a few minutes. David moved closer. He wasn't touching her, but she could feel him right behind her. You know I don't like you gossiping with the neighbors. We weren't gossiping. Just talking about school. Sarah. His voice was sharp now. Look at me. She turned around. David stood very close. His face looked calm, but his eyes were not calm. His eyes were angry. I work all day, he said slowly. I provide for this family. I pay for this house. I pay for everything. The least you can do is follow simple rules. Don't talk to the neighbors. Don't waste time. Take care of our home and our children. Is that too much to ask? No, Sarah whispered. No what? No, it's not too much to ask. Good. David stepped back. He smiled like nothing had happened. I'm going to change clothes. Make sure dinner is ready at 6. He walked out of the kitchen. Sarah heard him go upstairs. She heard him greet the children. His voice was happy and light when he talked to them. He was always different with Emma and Lucas. They didn't see the other David yet. Sarah worked hard to keep it that way. She finished cutting vegetables with shaking hands. The knife felt heavy. Everything felt heavy. Emma came downstairs first. She was 8 years old with long brown hair. She looked like Sarah. Mom, are you okay? Emma asked. She was a smart girl. Too smart sometimes. I'm fine, baby. Just tired. Dad seemed mad when he came home. No, he's not mad. He's just hungry. Can you set the table for me? Emma nodded, but she didn't look convinced. She pulled out plates and forks. Sarah watched her daughter work. Emma was starting to notice things. Small things. The way Sarah moved carefully around David. The way Sarah's voice changed when he was home. The way Sarah always said yes. Lucas came down next. He was humming a song. Something from a cartoon. He was still young enough to be happy. Still young enough not to see the cracks. Dinner was ready at exactly 6 o'clock. They all sat at the table together. David talked about his day at work. Sarah listened and nodded. The children ate quietly. It looked like a normal family dinner, but Sarah's mind was somewhere else. She was thinking about Monica's text. She was thinking about Janet next door. She was thinking about how small her world had become. 5 years ago, things were different. She had friends. She had family visits. She had a car she could drive whenever she wanted. She had her own money. She had freedom. Now she had none of those things. David had taken them away piece by piece, so slowly that Sarah didn't notice until it was too late, until the walls had closed in completely. After dinner, Sarah cleaned the kitchen. David watched television with the kids. She could hear them laughing in the living room. That sound made her feel a little better and a little worse at the same time. She washed dishes and thought about her life. She thought about leaving. She always thought about leaving. But how? David controlled all the money. He had the car keys. He checked her phone. He watched her every move. And if she tried to leave and failed, what would happen then? Sarah dried the last dish and put it away. She looked out the kitchen window at the dark backyard. Somewhere out there was a different life. A free life. But it felt very far away. She didn't know that everything was about to change. She didn't know that a desperate message and a famous wrestler would soon give her a chance at that freedom. She didn't know that her son's hero would become her hero too. Tonight she only knew that she was trapped, and she had no idea how to escape. Sarah remembered when she first met David. It was 7 years ago at a coffee shop in downtown Phoenix. She was 27 years old. She had a good job at a marketing company. She had her own apartment. She had friends and plans and dreams. David seemed perfect that day. He was handsome and confident. He wore a nice suit and had a bright smile. He offered to pay for her coffee. They talked for 2 hours. He made her laugh. He seemed interested in everything she said. You're special, David told her that day. Different from other women. Sarah felt special. She felt seen. David called her the next day, and the day after that, he sent flowers to her office. He took her to nice restaurants. Everyone said she was lucky. Her friends were jealous. Her mother liked him. They got married 1 year later. Sarah thought she had found her perfect life. But things changed slowly, so slowly. First, David said he worried about her driving in traffic. Phoenix drivers are crazy, he said. Let me drive you to work. I want to keep you safe. It seemed sweet at first, caring. But then he started being late to pick her up. She would wait outside her office for an hour. sometimes more. When she complained, he got angry. "I'm doing you a favor," he said. "Don't be ungrateful." Then he said her job stressed her too much. "You work such long hours," he told her. "You're always tired. Why don't you quit? I make enough money. You can relax at home." Sarah wasn't sure. She liked her job. She liked having her own money. But David kept pushing. He made it sound like he was thinking about her health, her happiness. "Don't you want to be less stressed?" he asked. "Don't you trust me to take care of you?" Sarah quit her job. That was the first big mistake. She didn't know it then. At home, David became different. He wanted to know where she was every minute. If she went to the store, he called 3 times. If she visited a friend, he texted constantly. "I just miss you," he said. "Is that wrong?" "I love you so much." Sarah's friends started to drift away. They got tired of her canceling plans. They got tired of David calling during their lunches. They stopped inviting her places. "You don't need them anyway," David said. They were never real friends. Real friends would understand that you have a husband now. Then Sarah got pregnant with Emma. She was happy about the baby. David seemed happy too. But during her pregnancy, his rules got worse. "You need to rest," he said. "No going out, no stress. I'll take care of everything." He took her car keys. "You shouldn't drive while pregnant. It's not safe." He took control of their bank account. "Money stress is bad for the baby. I'll handle all the finances." He checked her phone every day. "I need to make sure no one is bothering you. You need peace." After Emma was born, Sarah thought things would get better. They got worse. David decided who could visit. Her mother came once and disagreed with David about how to hold the baby. David asked her to leave. He told Sarah her mother was trying to interfere. He said they needed to be a family unit. Just the 3 of them. "Your mother is controlling," David said. "She's trying to control you through the baby. We can't allow that." Sarah missed her mother. She missed her sister Monica even more. But every time she tried to contact them, David found out. He read her texts. He checked her email. He even listened to her phone calls. "Why are you sneaking around?" he would ask. "What are you hiding from me?" "Nothing," Sarah would say. "I just wanted to talk to my family. I'm your family now. Me and Emma, that's all you need." When Lucas was born 2 years later, Sarah was completely isolated. She had no friends, no family visits, no car, no money, no privacy. The only people she talked to were David and the children. David controlled everything. He gave her a small amount of cash each week for groceries. She had to bring back receipts. If she spent too much, he got angry. If she spent too little, he accused her of hiding money. He timed how long she was at the store. If she took too long, he called repeatedly. Where was she? What was she doing? Why was she taking so long? Sarah learned to shop very fast. She learned to plan everything perfectly. She learned to predict what David wanted before he asked. It was easier that way, safer, but even being perfect wasn't enough. David always found something wrong. The house was too messy, or too clean. Dinner was too early, or too late. She spent too much time with the kids, or not enough. She wore the wrong clothes. She said the wrong things. She looked at him the wrong way. Nothing Sarah did was right. And when things weren't right, David got angry. At first, his anger was just words, mean words that hurt deep inside. He called her stupid, lazy, ungrateful. He said no one else would want her. He said she was lucky he stayed with her. "Look at yourself," he would say. "You're a mess. You can't even take care of 2 kids without help. What would you do without me?" Sarah started to believe him. Maybe she was useless. Maybe she couldn't survive alone. Maybe David was right about everything. Then his anger became more physical. He didn't hit her at first. He just got close. He stood too near. He backed her into corners. He grabbed her arm hard enough to leave marks. He pushed her once, then twice, then more. "You made me do that," he would say afterward. "If you just listened, I wouldn't get so frustrated." Sarah wore long sleeves even in the Arizona heat. She covered bruises with makeup. She made excuses when Emma asked why Daddy was yelling. She pretended everything was fine. 3 months ago, things got much worse. David installed monitoring software on the home computer. He said it was to protect the kids from bad websites. But Sarah knew it was to watch her. She tested it once. She looked up domestic violence help on the computer. That night, David exploded. "Are you telling people I abuse you?" he shouted. His face was red and angry. "Are you spreading lies about me?" No, Sarah said. She was shaking. I was just reading an article. It wasn't about us. Don't lie to me. David grabbed her shoulders hard. I see everything you do. Everything. You can't hide anything from me. He shook her. Her head snapped back and forth. Emma started crying in her room upstairs. Sarah could hear her daughter's scared sobs. Look what you're doing to our children, David said. He let go of Sarah suddenly. She fell against the wall. You're scaring them with your drama. He walked away like nothing happened. Sarah slid down the wall and sat on the floor. Her shoulders hurt where he grabbed them. Her head hurt from being shaken. But her heart hurt most of all. She heard David go upstairs. She heard him comfort Emma in a soft, gentle voice. It's okay, sweetheart. Mommy just had a little accident. She's fine. Go back to sleep. Sarah sat on the floor for a long time. She thought about her life. She thought about how she got here. Every choice David made for her. Every freedom he took away. Every wall he built around her. She was trapped. Completely trapped. After that night, Sarah stopped trying to look for help online. She stopped trying to contact her family. She stopped trying to leave. Because where would she go? How would she get there? What would happen to her children? David made sure she knew the answers. He told her constantly, if you ever try to leave, I'll take the kids, he said. I have money for lawyers. You have nothing. No job, no money. No one will believe you over me. Everyone thinks we're the perfect family. He was right. To the outside world, they were perfect. David was charming with neighbors. He was friendly at school events. He posted happy family photos online. He made everyone believe he was a wonderful husband and father. Only Sarah knew the truth. And Emma was starting to know too. Sarah saw it in her daughter's eyes. The worry, the fear. The way Emma watched David carefully. The way she tried to be extra good to keep him happy. Sarah couldn't let her children grow up like this. She couldn't let Emma learn that this was what love looked like. She couldn't let Lucas think this was how men should treat women, but she didn't know how to change it. She was stuck with no way out. The house had become her prison. David was the guard. The rules were the bars on her cage, and Sarah had no key to unlock the door. She tried to remember the person she used to be, the confident woman with a job and friends and freedom, that Sarah felt like a dream now, like someone else's life. This Sarah was scared all the time. This Sarah walked on eggshells every day. This Sarah had forgotten what it felt like to make her own choices. This Sarah was disappearing a little more each day. Sometimes Sarah looked at her children and felt hopeless. How could she protect them when she couldn't even protect herself? How could she give them a better life when she had no power to change anything? But late at night, when David was asleep and the house was quiet, Sarah made herself a promise. Somehow, some way, she would find a way out. She would save herself and her children. She would be strong enough to break free. She just didn't know how yet. She didn't know when. She only knew that she had to keep hoping. Because hope was the only thing David couldn't take away from her. Not yet, anyway. Lucas sat on the living room floor with the tablet in his hands. His eyes were wide and excited. On the screen, a large, muscular man in colorful shorts lifted another wrestler over his head. The crowd in the video cheered wildly. Look, Mom, Lucas said. It's John Cena, he's so strong. Sarah looked up from folding laundry. She saw the wrestler on the screen. He had short hair and a determined face. He was throwing his opponent down in the wrestling ring. The move looked dramatic and powerful. That's nice, sweetie, Sarah said. She went back to folding David's shirts. She had to fold them a specific way, sleeves tucked just right, creases perfectly straight. Lucas had been watching wrestling videos for 2 weeks now. David bought him the tablet last month. It was supposed to be for educational videos only. But Lucas discovered WWE wrestling and fell in love with it, especially John Cena. Mom, did you know John Cena visits sick kids in the hospital? Lucas said. He looked up at her with bright eyes. He's visited more kids than anyone else in the world. Like hundreds and hundreds. That's very kind of him, Sarah said. And he says you should never give up. Never ever. Even when things are hard. Lucas stood up and made a muscle with his small arm. You can't see me, he said in a deep voice. That was John Cena's famous line. Sarah smiled a little. Lucas's enthusiasm was sweet. It reminded her that some joy still existed in this house. At least for the children. At least sometimes Emma came into the room. She had a book in her hands. "Lucas, can you turn that down?" "I'm trying to read." "But it's almost over," Lucas said. "John Cena is about to win." "He always wins," Emma said. She sat on the couch with her book. She was reading more and more lately. Sarah knew why. Books were an escape, a way to disappear into another world. Sarah understood that feeling. Lucas turned down the volume a little. Sarah finished folding the laundry. She picked up the basket to take it upstairs. As she walked past Lucas, she glanced at the tablet screen again. The video had changed. Now it showed John Cena talking to a group of people. He wasn't wrestling anymore. He was giving some kind of speech. Sarah paused to listen for a moment. "Bullying is not okay," John Cena said on the screen. His voice was serious and strong. "If you see someone being hurt, speak up. If you're being hurt, tell someone. There are people who want to help. You are not alone." Sarah felt something strange in her chest, a tightness. The words hit her in a way she didn't expect. You are not alone. But Sarah was alone, completely alone. She carried the laundry basket upstairs. In the bedroom, she put David's clothes away carefully. Everything had its place. David checked to make sure things were organized his way. Sarah sat on the bed for a moment. She was tired, always so tired. Taking care of the house and the kids while walking on eggshells around David was exhausting. She never got a break, never got peace. She heard Lucas's video still playing downstairs. John Cena's voice carried up the stairs. He was talking about standing up to bullies, about being brave, about asking for help. Sarah thought about that. Asking for help. She had tried before. She tried to email her sister once. David found out and deleted her email account. She tried to call her mother from a neighbor's phone. David found out and told the neighbors Sarah was having mental problems and spreading lies. After that, the neighbors looked at her differently, with pity, with suspicion. They believed David's story. Why wouldn't they? He was so charming and normal. Sarah was the one who seemed nervous and jumpy. She was the one who looked unstable. David was smart. He had made it impossible for anyone to believe her. Sarah went back downstairs. The children were still in the living room. Lucas had moved on to another John Cena video. This one showed the wrestler visiting a children's hospital. Sick kids in hospital beds smiled and laughed as John Cena talked to them. He gave them toys and signed autographs. Some of the kids were crying happy tears. "See, Mom?" Lucas said. "He really does visit sick kids. He makes them feel better." Sarah watched the video. She saw how gentle John Cena was with the children. How patient, how kind. These kids were suffering and he took time to make them smile. To make them feel seen and important. An idea began forming in Sarah's mind. A crazy idea. A desperate idea. That night after dinner, David went to his home office to work. Emma was doing homework at the kitchen table. Lucas was in the living room with his tablet again. More wrestling videos. Sarah checked on Emma's homework. Math problems. Emma was smart and careful with her work. She got that from Sarah. "Mom," Emma said quietly. She didn't look up from her paper. "Why does Dad get so angry sometimes?" Sarah's heart dropped. She knew this question would come eventually. Emma was 8 now. Old enough to see. Old enough to understand something was wrong. "Your dad works very hard," Sarah said carefully. "Sometimes grown-ups get stressed. But he's only angry at you. Not at us, not at other people." Sarah didn't know what to say. She couldn't tell Emma the truth, not yet. Emma was too young to carry that weight. "It's complicated, baby, but everything is okay. I promise." Emma finally looked up. Her eyes were serious. Too serious for an 8-year-old. "You don't seem okay, Mom." Sarah's throat felt tight. She touched Emma's hair gently. "I'm fine. Focus on your homework." Emma went back to her math, but Sarah could tell she wasn't convinced. Her daughter was watching, noticing, learning things no child should have to learn. Sarah walked into the living room. Lucas was still glued to his tablet. Another John Cena video. This one showed the wrestler at some kind of charity event. He was talking about domestic violence awareness. Sarah froze. She listened carefully. "Domestic violence affects millions of people," John Cena said on the screen. "It happens in all kinds of families. Rich families, poor families. It's about power and control. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out. There are resources. There are people who care. Your life matters." Lucas wasn't really paying attention to the words. He was just watching because it was his hero. But Sarah heard every word. She listened like her life depended on it. Maybe it did. After Lucas went to bed that night, Sarah cleaned the kitchen. David was still in his office. She could hear him on a work call. This was her chance, her only chance. She grabbed Lucas's tablet from the charging station. Her hands were shaking. She had maybe 10 minutes before David finished his call, maybe less. Sarah went into the downstairs bathroom and locked the door. She turned on the fan to cover any sound. Then she opened the tablet. David didn't monitor Lucas's tablet as closely as her phone. The tablet was supposed to be just for the kids. Educational videos and games. David probably didn't think Sarah would use it. Sarah opened a web browser. She typed carefully. John Cena contact. Several results came up. His official Instagram account. His Twitter. His Facebook page. Sarah's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break through her chest. She clicked on Instagram. John Cena's verified account appeared. Millions of followers. Thousands of posts. How would he ever see a message from her? How would her voice reach him through the millions of other voices trying to get his attention? But Sarah had to try. She had to. She clicked the message button. A blank screen appeared. What should she say? How could she explain everything in a message? How could she make him understand that this wasn't a joke or a scam? Sarah thought about Emma asking why Dad was so angry. She thought about Lucas watching videos about never giving up. She thought about the bruises on her arms hidden under her sleeves. She thought about 7 years of walls closing in. She started typing. Mr. Cena, I know you get thousands of messages. I know this seems crazy, but I'm trapped. My husband controls everything. My phone, my money, my car, my life. I can't leave. I can't call for help. He watches everything. I have 2 kids. A girl who's starting to see the truth and a boy who loves you. We live in Phoenix. I don't know what you can do. Maybe nothing. But you talk about standing up to bullies, about helping people who are hurt. I'm hurt. My kids will be hurt if they grow up seeing this, please. If you see this, if anyone on your team sees this, help, just help. Sarah read the message 3 times. It sounded desperate. It sounded crazy. David always said she was dramatic and emotional. Maybe he was right. Maybe this was stupid. She almost deleted it. But then she thought about Lucas's voice saying, John Cena says never give up. Sarah hit send before she could change her mind. The message disappeared into the void. Into John Cena's inbox that probably had 10,000 other messages. From fans, from people asking for autographs, from people with problems and dreams and requests. Why would he see hers? Why would he care? Sarah deleted the browser history. She deleted the app history. She cleaned every trace of what she had done. Then she put the tablet back on the charging station. Her hands were still shaking. She felt like she might throw up. What had she just done? If David found out, he would explode. He would say she was trying to humiliate him, trying to destroy his reputation. He would make her pay for it, but maybe he wouldn't find out. Maybe the message would just disappear into the internet forever. Maybe nobody would ever see it. Sarah went upstairs. She brushed her teeth and got ready for bed like it was any normal night. David came in later. He didn't look at her. He just got into bed and turned off the light. Maria Rodriguez sat at her desk in Los Angeles staring at her computer screen. She had been working for John Cena's social media team for 3 years. Every day was the same. Thousands of messages, thousands of comments, thousands of requests. Most messages were from fans asking for autographs or photos. Some were business requests. Some were people sharing their stories about how John Cena inspired them. Those messages were nice, but there were too many to respond to all of them. Maria's job was to sort through everything. She flagged important business messages for John's manager. She forwarded charity requests to the right department. She deleted spam and mean comments. It was boring work sometimes, but Maria liked being part of something positive. Today felt like every other day. Maria had already sorted through 200 messages. She still had 300 more to go. She took a sip of her coffee and opened the next message. It was from someone named Sarah Martinez in Phoenix. Maria almost skipped over it. She got dozens of messages from Phoenix every day, but something made her pause. Maybe it was the first line. I know you get thousands of messages. Most people didn't acknowledge that. Most people wrote like John Cena would definitely read their message personally. This person knew the odds were against her. But she sent the message anyway. Maria kept reading. The message was short but intense. Trapped, controlled kids, Phoenix. Help. Maria had seen dramatic messages before. Some people exaggerated their problems to get attention. Some people had real problems but wanted John Cena to solve them like he was a superhero. Maria had learned to tell the difference. This message felt different. It wasn't asking for money. It wasn't asking for a visit or an autograph. It was just asking for help. Any help? Maria read it again. Then she read it a third time. Her stomach felt tight. Something about the words felt real. Desperate but real. She looked at the message details. Sent at 9:30 at night Phoenix time. From an Instagram account that had no posts and no followers. A completely empty account. Like someone made it just to send this one message. That was strange. If someone was faking a story for attention, they would usually have a regular account. They would want followers to see John Cena's response. This person had nothing. No audience. Just a cry for help into the void. Maria made a decision. She clicked the flag button and marked the message as urgent. Then she wrote a note to John's personal assistant, Rachel. This might be nothing, but my gut says it's real. Can you take a look? Rachel worked directly with John Cena. She was the gatekeeper for everything important. If Rachel thought something mattered, John would see it. Maria moved on to the next message. But she couldn't stop thinking about Sarah Martinez in Phoenix. What if the message was real? What if someone was really trapped and scared? What if Maria was the only person who would ever see that message? 2 hours later, Maria got a response from Rachel. Forwarding to John. He's between interviews right now. He'll look at it. Maria felt relieved. At least someone else would see it. At least she had passed it up the chain. Whatever happened next wasn't her responsibility anymore, but she still thought about it. All day. Through lunch. Through her afternoon meetings. Through sorting 500 more messages. She kept wondering about Sarah Martinez. Across town in a hotel conference room, John Cena sat in a chair facing a camera. He had just finished his third interview of the day. He was in Los Angeles promoting his new movie. Back-to-back interviews, photo shoots, and appearances. This was the part of fame that people didn't see. The exhausting, repetitive part. His assistant Rachel walked over during a break. She held her phone and had a serious expression. John, I need you to look at something, she said quietly. John took a bottle of water and drank half of it. What's up? We got a message that might be a domestic violence situation. Phoenix, mother with 2 kids, says her husband controls everything and she can't get out. John's face changed. He put down the water bottle and took Rachel's phone. He read the message carefully. Once, then again. John Cena had been advocating for domestic violence awareness for years. He had seen statistics. He had talked to survivors. He had donated to shelters and support organizations. But reading a direct plea for help from someone trapped right now hit different. How long ago was this sent? John asked last night. About 15 hours ago. Do we have any way to verify if it's real? Not yet. The account is empty. No history. But Maria, one of our social media team members, flagged it. She said her gut told her it was real. Maria's been with us 3 years. She's usually right about these things. John thought for a moment. He had learned to trust his team's instincts. They saw thousands of messages. They knew when something felt off. If Maria thought this was real, it probably was. What can we do? John asked. I have a contact at a domestic violence organization in Phoenix, Valley Haven. They help women escape abusive situations. I could reach out and see if they can do a wellness check or something. Do it, John said immediately, and see if we can find out more about this person. Sarah Martinez, Phoenix, 2 kids. That's a start. Rachel nodded and stepped away to make calls. John handed back her phone. He had 10 minutes before his next interview. He sat quietly and thought about the message. The woman said her son loved him, that her daughter was starting to see the truth. What truth? That her father was abusive, that her home wasn't safe. John thought about his own childhood. His family had struggles, but he was never afraid at home. He couldn't imagine being a kid and watching a parent hurt the other parent. Learning that violence was normal. Growing up thinking that was what love looked like. You are not alone, John had said in 100 speeches and videos. But this woman was alone, completely isolated by someone who was supposed to love her. John had millions of followers and resources and fame. If he couldn't help one person who reached out directly, what was the point of all his advocacy work? His next interview started. John smiled for the camera and answered questions about his movie. But part of his mind was still in Phoenix, thinking about Sarah Martinez and her 2 kids. After the interviews finished, Rachel came back with information. I talked to Valley Haven, she said. They have protocols for situations like this. They can't just burst into someone's house, but they work with police for wellness checks. The problem is we don't have an address. Can we find it? John asked. Maybe. I have someone trying to track down Sarah Martinez in Phoenix with 2 kids, but it's a common name. There might be dozens of matches. We need more information. John felt frustrated. Here was someone asking for help and they couldn't even find her. She was invisible in her own life, and now she was invisible to the people trying to help her. What about responding to her message? John asked. Can we message her back? We can try, but she sent it from an empty account. She might not check it again. She might have deleted everything after sending it. People in these situations are often terrified of being caught. John nodded. He understood. If this woman's husband controlled her phone and computer, she took a huge risk sending that message. She probably wouldn't risk checking for a response, but they had to try. Send her a message, John said. Tell her we saw it. Tell her we're working on help. Tell her to hang on, Rachel typed on her phone. John watched over her shoulder as she wrote the message. Sarah, we received your message. We believe you. We are working with domestic violence advocates in Phoenix to help. Please stay safe. Check this account tomorrow if you can. Help is coming. Rachel hit send. The message went into the void just like Sarah's original message. Maybe she would see it. Maybe she wouldn't, but at least they tried. What else can we do? John asked. Valley Haven said they'll contact Phoenix police for a welfare check on any Sarah Martinez households they can find. It's not much, but it's a start. They're also putting out feelers with other domestic violence organizations in the area. Someone might know her. That could take days, John said. It might, or it might happen faster. We don't know. John felt helpless. He could lift heavy weights and perform in front of thousands of people. He could make movies and give speeches. But he couldn't save one woman who asked for help. Not immediately. Keep me updated, John said. Every step. I want to know what's happening. I will, Rachel promised. That night, John couldn't sleep well. He kept thinking about the message. About Sarah Martinez somewhere in Phoenix, not knowing anyone had seen her SOS, not knowing people were trying to help. He thought about her kids. The daughter who was starting to see the truth. The son who watched wrestling videos and loved John Cena. That kid had no idea his hero was trying to save his mom. John had visited hundreds of sick kids in hospitals. He had made wishes come true for children with terminal illnesses. But this felt different. This wasn't about making a kid smile for a day. This was about saving a family from ongoing trauma. The next morning, Rachel called John early. Valley Haven found her, Rachel said. She sounded excited and nervous. They contacted Phoenix police. There's a Sarah Martinez in a suburb called Chandler, married to David Martinez, 2 kids, ages 8 and 6. The police are planning a wellness check this afternoon. John felt a rush of relief mixed with anxiety. What happens during a wellness check? Sarah woke up with a knot in her stomach. She felt it before she even opened her eyes. That familiar feeling of dread that had become part of her morning routine. Another day, another performance, another endless loop of trying to be perfect. David was already awake. She could hear him in the shower. Sarah lay still for a moment, gathering the energy to face the day. Then she got up and went downstairs to start breakfast. Emma and Lucas were still sleeping. Sarah made coffee and started cooking eggs. Everything had to be ready by 7:15. David expected breakfast on the table when he came downstairs at 7:20. Not 7:15. Not 7:25. 7:20 exactly. Sarah had learned to time everything perfectly. The eggs had to be warm but not cold. The toast had to be crispy but not burnt. The coffee had to be full strength, not weak. Getting these details wrong meant starting the day with David's anger. And that anger would last all day long. At 7:20, David came downstairs wearing his work suit. He sat at the table without greeting Sarah. She put his breakfast in front of him. Perfect eggs, perfect toast, perfect coffee. Did you pay the electric bill yesterday? David asked while eating. Sarah's heart dropped. She had forgotten. There were so many things to remember, so many tasks, and she forgot one. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I'll do it today. David put down his fork slowly. His eyes were cold.
Sarah, I gave you the money 3 days ago.
I specifically said to pay it yesterday. Why is this so hard for you? I'm sorry. I was busy with the kids' school stuff and Excuses, David interrupted. Always excuses. Do you know what happens if our power gets shut off? Do you have any idea how that makes me look? It won't get shut off. The bill isn't late yet. I'll pay it this morning. That's not the point. David's voice was getting harder. The point is you can't follow simple instructions. You have 2 tasks every day. Take care of the house and the kids. 2 things. And you can't even do that right. Sarah said nothing. Arguing made it worse. She had learned that lesson too many times. David finished his breakfast in angry silence. When he was done, he grabbed his briefcase and keys. Pay the bill today and try not to mess up anything else. He left. The door slammed. Sarah stood in the kitchen feeling small and useless. Maybe David was right. Maybe she couldn't do anything right. Maybe she was incompetent and worthless. Emma came downstairs in her school uniform. She saw Sarah's face and knew something was wrong. Is Dad mad again? No, sweetie. He's just stressed about work. Emma didn't look convinced, but she didn't push. She sat down for breakfast. Lucas came down a few minutes later, still sleepy and dragging his stuffed dinosaur. Sarah fed her children and tried to act normal. She packed their lunches. She checked their backpacks. She walked them to the bus stop at 8 o'clock. The Arizona morning was already getting hot. Have a good day, Sarah said. She kissed both kids on their heads. Emma hugged her tight for a moment. Too tight, like she didn't want to let go. Love you, Mom, Emma whispered. Love you too, baby. The bus came. The kids got on. Sarah waved until the bus turned the corner. Then she walked back to the empty house. The empty house was the worst part of her day. Just her and the walls and the silence. Sarah cleaned the kitchen. She paid the electric bill online. She started laundry. She vacuumed the living room. All the tasks that filled her day but never filled the emptiness inside. By noon, Sarah was exhausted even though she hadn't done anything physically hard. The mental exhaustion was worse. The constant anxiety. The constant fear of messing up. The constant voice in her head that sounded like David telling her she was worthless. Sarah made herself a sandwich but only ate half. She wasn't hungry anymore. She put the dishes in the dishwasher and went upstairs to fold the clean laundry. In the bedroom, she saw Lucas's tablet on the dresser. David must have moved it there this morning. He sometimes used it to check sports scores. Sarah looked at the tablet. She thought about the message she sent 2 nights ago. The desperate message to Cena that probably disappeared into nothing. Had anyone seen it? Did anyone care? Or was it just one more message in a flood of millions ignored and forgotten? Sarah picked up the tablet. Her hands were shaking. She shouldn't check. It was too risky. David could come home early. He could check the tablet history. He could find out what she did, but something made her open it anyway. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe she just needed to know if her voice had been heard, even if no one could help. Sarah opened the Instagram app. She navigated to the message section. Her heart was pounding. She expected to see nothing. No response. No hope, but there was a message. A new message. From Cena's verified account. Sarah's vision blurred for a second. She couldn't breathe. She read the message once, then twice, then 3 times. Sarah, we received your message. We believe you. We are working with domestic violence advocates in Phoenix to help. Please stay safe. Check this account tomorrow if you can. Help is coming. Sarah sat down on the bed hard. Her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. She stared at the words on the screen. They felt impossible, like a dream, like something her desperate mind made up. But they were real. Right there on the screen, real words from real people. We believe you. Nobody had believed Sarah in 5 years. Not her neighbors, not her old friends, not anyone. David was too good at his act, too charming and normal on the outside. Sarah was the one who seemed unstable and dramatic, but Cena's team believed her. Just from one message, they believed her. Help is coming. Sarah started crying. She couldn't help it. The tears came fast and hard. Relief mixed with fear, mixed with hope, mixed with terror. Help was coming. But when? How? What if David found out before help arrived? Sarah forced herself to stop crying. She deleted her message history again. She cleared the browser data. She wiped away every trace. Then she put the tablet back exactly where David had left it. Her mind was racing. Help was coming. What did that mean? Would the police show up? Would social workers come? Would someone call? How would they find her? She didn't give them her address in the message. Sarah went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on her face. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were red from crying. Her face looked tired and older than her 34 years. But something was different now. There was a small spark of something in her eyes. Hope. Real hope. The afternoon crawled by. Sarah couldn't focus on anything. She kept looking at the clock, kept listening for unexpected sounds. A knock on the door. A phone call, something, but nothing happened. The house stayed quiet. The afternoon stayed normal. Sarah picked up the kids from the bus stop at 3 o'clock like always. How was school? She asked them. Good, Emma said. We had a math test. I think I did okay. I'm sure you did great. Lucas was telling her about something that happened at recess. A story about a kid who fell off the monkey bars but didn't cry. Lucas said the kid was brave like John Cena. Sarah listened, but her mind was somewhere else. Help is coming. When today? Tomorrow? Next week? Back at home, the kids did their homework. Sarah started dinner. Chicken again, rice again. The same meal David liked. The same routine. At 5:30, David came home. Sarah tensed immediately. She was stirring the rice when he walked into the kitchen. Did you pay the bill? He asked. Yes, this morning. Good. David loosened his tie. He seemed less angry than this morning. That was something. Dinner ready at 6? Yes. David nodded and went to change clothes. Sarah let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. One more evening. One more dinner. One more night of pretending everything was fine. They ate together at 6 o'clock. The family dinner that looked perfect from the outside. David talked about a project at work. Emma mentioned her math test. Lucas talked about John Cena again. Sarah said very little. She just nodded and smiled and played her part. After dinner, Sarah cleaned up. The kids watched TV. David went to his office to work on his laptop. The evening passed slowly, normally. No police officers knocked on the door. No phone calls came. No help appeared. Sarah started to doubt what she saw. Had the message really been there? Had she imagined it? Was her desperate mind making up hope where none existed? But no, she saw it. It was real. The message said help was coming. She had to believe that. She had to hold on to that. At 8 o'clock, Sarah put the kids to bed. She read Lucas a story about a dragon who learned to be brave. She tucked Emma in and kissed her forehead. Mom, Emma said quietly, are you okay? You seem different today. Different how? I don't know. Less sad, maybe? Sarah felt her chest tighten. Emma saw too much. Understood too much. It wasn't fair that an 8-year-old had to notice her mother's sadness. I'm okay, baby. I promise. Get some sleep. Okay, love you, Mom. Love you too. Sarah went downstairs. David was still in his office. She could hear him typing. Sarah sat on the couch and stared at nothing. Her mind kept going back to the message, help is coming. Please stay safe. How could she stay safe when danger lived in her house? How could she wait patiently when every hour felt like a lifetime? But she had no choice. She had waited 5 years. She could wait a little longer. If help was really coming, she needed to be ready. She needed to keep acting normal. She needed to not let David suspect anything. The next morning felt different to Sarah. She woke up with the same knot in her stomach, but underneath was something new. A flutter of anticipation. Or maybe anxiety. Or maybe both at once. David got ready for work like always. Breakfast at 7:20. Coffee perfect. Toast crispy. Everything in its place. He seemed to be in a decent mood this morning. That was lucky. I have meetings all afternoon, David said while eating. I won't be home until 6 at the earliest, Sarah nodded. Her heart started beating faster. All afternoon. That meant he would be gone most of the day. If help was coming today, that timing could be perfect. Okay, Sarah said calmly. She couldn't let him see any change in her behavior. I'll have dinner ready at 6:30. David finished breakfast and left for work. Sarah got the kids ready for school. Emma noticed her mother checking the clock more than usual. Are you expecting something today? Emma asked. No, sweetie. Just making sure we're on time. Sarah walked the kids to the bus stop. She hugged them both a little longer than normal. Lucas didn't notice, but Emma did. She looked at her mother with those knowing eyes. See you after school, Sarah said. The bus drove away. Sarah walked back to the house slowly. The morning sun was already hot. Her hands were sweating. Her whole body felt tense. Back inside, Sarah tried to do her normal routine, dishes, laundry, cleaning, but her mind was racing. Would someone come today? Would anyone come at all? What if the message was just a polite response and nothing more? At 1:30, Sarah was folding towels in the living room when she heard a car pull into the driveway. Her whole body froze. That wasn't David's car. David always parked in the garage and the sound was different. Sarah went to the window and peeked through the curtain carefully. A police car sat in her driveway. 2 officers were getting out. Behind them, another car pulled up. A woman in casual clothes stepped out carrying a folder. This was it. Help was here. Really here. Sarah's hands started shaking so hard she had to put down the towel. Her heart was pounding in her ears. Part of her wanted to run to the door. Part of her wanted to hide. What if this was a mistake? What if David came home early? What if the officers didn't believe her? The doorbell rang. Sarah took 3 deep breaths. Then she walked to the door and opened it. 2 Phoenix police officers stood on her porch. One was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes. The other was a younger man who looked very professional. The woman in regular clothes stood behind them. "Mrs. Martinez," the female officer said. "I'm Officer Chen and this is Officer Morrison. We're here to do a wellness check. May we come in?" Sarah's throat felt tight. "A wellness check?" "Yes, ma'am. We received information that you might need assistance. We just want to make sure you and your children are safe." "Can we come inside?" Sarah looked past them at the street. No other cars. No neighbors watching yet. She stepped aside and let them in. The officers came into the living room. The other woman followed. She smiled gently at Sarah. "Mrs. Martinez, my name is Lisa Chen. I'm not related to Officer Chen, just a coincidence with the names. I work with Valley Haven, a domestic violence advocacy organization. I'm here to help you understand your options. Is it okay if I'm here while we talk?" Sarah nodded. She couldn't find words yet. This was real. This was happening. Officer Chen, the female police officer, spoke in a calm voice. "Mrs. Martinez, we received a report that you might be in an unsafe situation at home. We want you to know that you're not in trouble. We're here to help. Is your husband home right now?" "No," Sarah said. Her voice came out as a whisper. "He's at work." "Good, that's good. Are your children here?" "No, they're at school." "Okay, that gives us some time to talk. Can we sit down?" Sarah sat on the couch. Her legs felt weak. The 2 officers sat in chairs across from her. Lisa, the advocate, sat next to Sarah on the couch at a respectful distance. "Mrs. Martinez," Officer Chen said gently, "we know this is scary. We know it's hard to talk about what's happening at home, but we're here to help you, not judge you. Can you tell us about your situation?" Sarah looked at her hands. They were shaking in her lap. Where did she even start? How could she explain 5 years of control and fear in a few sentences? "I don't know what to say," Sarah whispered. Lisa, the advocate, spoke up. "Sarah, may I call you Sarah?" "You don't have to tell us everything at once. Let's start with something simple. Do you feel safe in your home?" Sarah shook her head. "No. Does your husband hurt you?" Sarah hesitated. The bruises had faded. There were no marks right now. Would they believe her without evidence? "Sometimes," Sarah said quietly. "He grabs me, pushes me, shakes me. He doesn't hit with a closed fist, but he hurts me." "Does he hurt your children?" Officer Morrison asked. His voice was serious but not unkind. "No, not physically. But they see things. They hear things. My daughter is scared. She asks questions I don't know how to answer." Officer Chen was writing things down. "What about control? Does he control your access to money, transportation, communication?" Sarah nodded. The words started coming faster now, like a dam breaking. "He took my car keys years ago. He controls all the money. He checks my phone every night. He reads my messages. He times how long I'm at the store. He decides who I can talk to. I'm not allowed to contact my family. I'm not allowed to have friends. He monitors the computer. I can't go anywhere or do anything without his permission." The words poured out. All the things Sarah had kept locked inside. The rules, the fear, the isolation, the constant walking on eggshells. Years of trapped silence coming out in one rush. Officer Chen kept writing. Officer Morrison's face was serious and concerned. Lisa was nodding like she understood, like she had heard this story before. When Sarah finally stopped talking, she felt exhausted and exposed. She had just told strangers everything. There was no taking it back now. Sarah, Lisa said gently, what you're describing is domestic violence, financial abuse, emotional abuse, isolation, control. These are all forms of abuse. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. What you're experiencing is real and it's serious. Sarah felt tears running down her face. Someone believed her. Someone understood. We want to help you, Officer Chen said, but we need to know what you want to do. Do you want to leave this situation? Yes, Sarah said immediately. But I don't know how. I have no money, no car, no job, nowhere to go. And he'll fight for the kids. He'll make me look crazy. Everyone thinks he's perfect. That's a common tactic, Lisa explained. Abusers often present very differently in public than they are in private. But we have resources. Valley Haven has a shelter where you and your children can stay. We can help you file for a protective order. We can connect you with legal aid for divorce and custody. There are organizations that help with job training and housing. What about right now? Sarah asked. If I leave today, what happens? Officer Chen answered this. We can help you gather some essentials. Important documents if you can access them. Clothes for you and the kids. We can escort you and your children to the shelter today when they get home from school. You don't have to face your husband. You don't have to explain. You can just leave. But what about him? Sarah asked. What if he comes after me? What if he finds me? We'll help you file for a protective order, Officer Morrison said. That's a court order that says he can't contact you or come near you. If he violates it, he can be arrested. But those orders don't always stop people, Sarah said. She had heard stories. Protective orders that didn't protect, you're right, Lisa said honestly. A piece of paper can't physically stop someone, but it's a legal tool that gives you protection under the law. Combined with safety planning and the shelter's security, it's much safer than staying here. Sarah thought about her options. Stay and continue living in fear, or leave and face unknown dangers. Both choices were scary, but at least leaving offered hope for something better. Can I think about it? Sarah asked. Of course, Lisa said. This is your decision. We can't force you to leave. But can I be honest with you about something? Sarah nodded. Abuse typically escalates over time. It doesn't get better. It gets worse. The fact that you reached out for help tells me you know you need to leave. The question is not if, but when. And right now you have support here. You have officers ready to help. You have advocates ready to connect you to resources. This moment might not come again. Sarah knew Lisa was right. This was her chance. Maybe her only chance. If she stayed, David would eventually find out she reached out for help. And then things would get much worse. Okay, Sarah said. I want to leave today, but I need to get my kids from school. And I need to get some important documents if I can. Where are the documents? Officer Chen asked. In my husband's office safe. I don't know the combination. Officer Morrison spoke up. We can't force entry to the safe without a warrant, but we can escort you to get anything that's accessible. And Valley Haven can help you get replacement documents later if needed. Birth certificates and social security cards can be replaced. Sarah stood up. Her legs still felt shaky, but she felt stronger inside. I want to pack some clothes for me and the kids. I want to get our photo albums if I can, and I want to leave before he comes home. We'll help you, Lisa said. Let's work quickly. The first night at the shelter was the hardest. Emma and Lucas slept in one bed together, holding on to each other. Sarah lay in the other bed wide awake. Every sound made her jump. Every car outside made her think David had found them. But morning came and they were still safe. Still hidden, still free. Lisa arrived early with breakfast and paperwork. She sat with Sarah in a small office and explained what would happen next. Today we'll file for a protective order, Lisa said. You'll go before a judge and explain why you need protection. If the judge approves, your husband will be served with papers. He'll be ordered to stay away from you and the children. What if he doesn't stay away? Sarah asked. Then he gets arrested. The order gives you legal protection. It's not perfect, but it helps. They went to the courthouse that afternoon. Sarah told her story to a judge. She explained the control, the isolation, the physical intimidation, the fear. Her hands shook while she talked, but she got through it. The judge listened carefully. Then he approved the protective order. David would be served with papers at work the next day. He would be ordered to stay at least 500 feet away from Sarah and the children. He would be barred from contacting them in any way. "This is a good step," Lisa said as they left the courthouse. "You're protected now under the law." Sarah felt a strange mix of relief and terror. The order meant she was officially leaving David. There was no going back. He would be furious. He would feel humiliated, and Sarah knew that humiliated men could be dangerous. Over the next few days, Sarah started building a new life piece by piece. Valley Haven connected her with legal aid lawyers who would help with divorce proceedings. They helped her apply for emergency assistance and food stamps. They connected her with job training programs. Sarah's sister Monica came to visit on the third day. Sarah had called her from the shelter phone. Monica cried when she heard everything. She had suspected something was wrong for years, but David kept them apart so successfully that she couldn't help. "I'm sorry I didn't push harder," Monica said, hugging Sarah tight. "I should have known." "It wasn't your fault," Sarah told her. "He was very good at hiding it." Monica promised to help however she could. She brought the kids treats and played games with them. Lucas smiled for the first time since they left home. Emma relaxed a little. After a week at the shelter, Lisa had news. "John Cena wants to talk to you," she said. "His team has been checking in regularly for updates. He'd like to do a video call if you're comfortable with that." Sarah felt overwhelmed. "He wants to talk to me?" "Why? Because he cares. He started this process. He wants to make sure you're okay." That evening, Sarah sat in the shelter office with a laptop. Lisa helped her connect to the video call. The screen loaded and suddenly John Cena's face appeared. He looked just like he did in Lucas's videos. But his expression was softer, more concerned. "More human, Sarah," he said. "It's good to see you. Are you and your kids okay?" Sarah didn't know what to say. Here was this famous person asking about her. "We're okay. We're safe. Thank you for helping us. I didn't think anyone would see my message." "I'm glad someone did," John said. "I'm glad we could help. How are your kids handling everything?" "It's hard for them. They're confused and scared, but they're adjusting. I'd like to meet them sometime if that's okay with you, especially your son. I heard he's a fan." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. That would mean everything to him. To both of them. They talked for 20 minutes. John asked about what resources she needed. He asked about her plans for the future. He told her she was brave for leaving, that she was strong for protecting her children, that she deserved better than what she had been through. When the call ended, Sarah felt different. Lighter somehow. Someone important believed in her. Someone with influence and resources was on her side. She wasn't facing this alone. The next day, David tried to contact Sarah for the first time. He called her old phone number, which she had left behind. He called Valley Haven's main number, but they wouldn't tell him anything. He drove to the school, but the principal informed him about the protective order and said he could not have contact with the children. David was furious. Sarah heard about it through her lawyer. He was threatening to fight for full custody. He was telling people Sarah kidnapped the children. He was calling her unstable and dramatic. Sarah had expected this. David's image and control meant everything to him. She had destroyed both by leaving. He would fight back the only way he knew how, by trying to make her look bad, but this time Sarah had documentation. Police reports, statements from the shelter, a protective order, evidence that she wasn't crazy or dramatic, evidence that she was protecting her children from an abusive situation. 2 weeks after leaving, Sarah moved from the shelter to transitional housing. It was a small apartment that Valley Haven provided for domestic violence survivors who were ready for more independence. 2 bedrooms, basic furniture. Not much, but it was theirs. Emma and Lucas each got their own room for the first time ever. They decorated with posters and drawings. Slowly, the apartment started feeling like a safe space, like a real home. Sarah enrolled the kids in a new school under confidential addresses. David wouldn't be able to find them through school records. She started therapy sessions for herself and the children. They all needed help processing what they had been through. Emma talked about being scared all the time at the old house, about trying to be extra good so Dad wouldn't get angry, about worrying that Mom would get hurt. She cried a lot in therapy, but her therapist said that was healthy. She was releasing years of held-in fear. Lucas struggled more. He missed his old house. He missed his dad. He was too young to fully understand why they left. His therapist worked with him through play therapy, helping him express feelings he couldn't put into words. Sarah found a part-time job at a grocery store. It wasn't much, but it was income. It was independence. She started saving money in an account that only she could access. Money that David couldn't control or take away. 3 months after leaving, John Cena came to Phoenix for a WWE event. His team contacted Sarah and invited her family to attend. They would have special seats. They would meet John after the show, Sarah told Lucas that morning. His eyes went so wide she thought he might pass out. "We're going to meet John Cena?" Lucas asked. "Really? For real?" "Really for real." Lucas couldn't sit still all day. He wore his John Cena t-shirt and practiced what he would say. Emma was excited too, though she tried to act cool about it. That evening, they went to the arena. The energy was incredible. Thousands of people cheering. Music blasting. Lights flashing. Lucas's face was pure joy. They watched the matches from amazing seats. When John Cena came out, the crowd went wild. Lucas screamed so loud Sarah thought he might lose his voice. John performed his signature moves. He won his match. The crowd chanted his name. After the show, security escorted Sarah and the kids backstage. They waited in a hallway until John appeared. He was sweaty from performing and still in his wrestling gear, but he smiled big when he saw them. "You must be Lucas," John said, kneeling down to the boy's level. Lucas nodded. He was speechless for the first time Sarah could remember. "I heard you're a pretty tough kid," John said. "You've been through a lot, but you're still standing. That takes real strength." "I watch your videos every day," Lucas finally managed to say. "That's awesome. What's your favorite part?" "When you say never give up." "That's my favorite part too," John said. He looked at Emma. "And you must be Emma. Your mom told me you're very brave." Emma smiled shyly. "Thank you for helping us, you're welcome. But your mom is the one who was brave. She asked for help when she needed it. That takes serious courage." John talked with them for 10 more minutes. He answered Lucas's questions about wrestling. He complimented Emma's intelligence. He asked about their new apartment and their new school. Then he pulled out a replica championship belt and gave it to Lucas. "This is for you, to remind you that you're a champion. You survived something really hard and you're still here. That makes you a winner." Lucas held the belt like it was made of gold. Tears ran down his face. Happy tears. John gave Emma a signed photo and a WWE care package. Then he turned to Sarah. "How are you really doing?" "Some days are hard," Sarah admitted. "But we're okay. We're safe. That's what matters. You did an amazing thing. You saved yourself and your kids. Don't forget that." "I won't. Thank you for seeing my message. Thank you for believing me." "Always," John said. "If you need anything else, my team knows how to reach you. You're not alone anymore." They said goodbye and left the arena. Lucas wouldn't stop talking about meeting John Cena. He wore the championship belt over his pajamas that night. Emma seemed lighter too. Like meeting their hero made everything they had been through worth it somehow. Sarah put the kids to bed and sat in the small living room of their apartment. She thought about how far they had come in 3 months. From a prison disguised as a perfect home to this small apartment that was truly theirs. The divorce was in progress. David was fighting, but Sarah's lawyers were confident. The protective order was still in place. David had violated it once by texting her from a friend's phone. He spent a night in jail for that. He hadn't tried again. Sarah had reconnected with Monica and her mother. They visited every week. The relationships were healing slowly. Sarah was learning to trust again. To open up again. To let people in. She started a support group for other domestic violence survivors. Sharing her story helped others. Hearing their stories helped her. She wasn't special or unique. Millions of women experienced what she did, but she was one of the lucky ones who got out. 6 months after leaving, Sarah got promoted to full-time at the grocery store. It came with benefits and better pay. She started looking at apartments she could afford on her own, without Valley Haven's help. Emma was thriving in school. Her grades were excellent. She had made new friends. She was laughing more, acting more like a regular 8-year-old instead of a worried little adult. Lucas still watched John Cena videos. He still wore his championship belt, but he also played with other kids now. He was going to therapy and learning that men could be kind and safe. That anger wasn't normal. That love didn't mean control. Sarah started dating again. Nothing serious, just coffee with a nice man from work, someone who respected her boundaries, someone who made her laugh. It felt strange and scary and wonderful all at once. 1 year after sending her desperate message, Sarah stood in the kitchen of her new apartment, a real apartment that she rented with her own money. Emma and Lucas were in their rooms doing homework. The TV played softly in the background. Sarah made dinner and thought about how different life was now. She could go to the store whenever she wanted. She could talk to whoever she wanted. She could make choices about her own life. Simple freedoms that most people took for granted felt like miracles to Sarah. Her phone buzzed. A text from Monica. Still coming for dinner Sunday? Sarah smiled and texted back. Wouldn't miss it. She had her family back. She had her freedom back. She had herself back. The woman she used to be before David, confident, capable, strong, that woman never really disappeared. She was just buried under years of abuse and control, but she was still there, still fighting, still hoping. Sarah finished making dinner and called the kids to eat. They sat together at their small kitchen table. Not a fancy dining room, not a perfect setup, but it was theirs. Safe and free and full of love, Mom, Lucas said between bites.
Can we watch John Cena videos after dinner?
Sure, baby. Did you know he helps people? Lucas asked. Like people who need help? He saved us. Sarah felt her throat get tight. He did help us. But you know who else saved us? Who? We did. We saved ourselves. John Cena helped us get started, but we did the hard work. We left, we started over. We kept going even when it was scary. That was all us. Emma looked up from her plate. We are pretty brave, aren't we? The bravest, Sarah said. She reached across the table and took both her children's hands. And we're going to be okay. Better than okay. We're going to be great. And somewhere in Los Angeles, John Cena got an email from his team with an update. Sarah Martinez and her children were doing well. They were safe. They were building a new life. The rescue was complete. John smiled and closed his laptop. That's what it was all about. Not the fame. Not the movies. Not the millions of followers. It was about moments like this. Real people getting real help when they needed it most. Sarah Martinez sent an SOS signal into the darkness. And someone answered. That simple act of reaching out in desperate hope had changed everything. It saved 3 lives. It broke a cycle. It proved that asking for help wasn't weakness. It was the strongest thing she ever did. Years later, Sarah would tell her story to other women trapped in abusive relationships. She would volunteer at Valley Haven. She would speak at events about domestic violence awareness. She would use her experience to help others find their own courage to leave. And she would always end her talks the same way. If you're trapped, send your signal. Reach out however you can. Someone is listening. Someone cares. Help is possible. Freedom is possible. You are not alone. And you will never, ever have to give up. Just like John Cena always said,